Shape for Life. Your host is Amber Smithson. She is a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life. Your call is now live.
Thanks, Liz. Hey, everybody. It's Amber Smithson. I'm Presidential Director and Certified Health Coach with Take Shape for Life. And I just want to welcome everyone onto the call or Zoom. Now, if you're joining us via phone, then I don't want to alarm you, but you're missing out on a lot of the fun that we're having on Zoom. So I want to tell you how to join us. You can get on your computer and go to zoom.us, so zoom.us, and then join a meeting. Click the Join a Meeting button, and the numbers you punch in are 801-356-3181. So again, if you want to join in on the video fun, go to zoom.us and then join a meeting, and 801-356-3181. Then you can come in on the party. So joining me as a co-host, I have Sarah Flake, Global Director. Say hi, Sarah.
Hi, guys. Really glad to be here.
She's joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am here in Spanish Fork, Utah. So we want to dive into this call. We're so excited that you've joined us. A lot of the people on this call are joining us in the health games. And that is just a fun, awesome way to build those healthy habits and to really not just do a diet, but to think long-term. And that's actually our topic for tonight, is doing it long-term. Because how many of you, raise your hand if I could see you on Zoom, how many of you just want to do a diet and then gain it all back afterwards? Okay, good. How many of you want to be able to keep this weight off for the long term? Raise your hand. Okay, good. We have some players tonight. So first off, I want Sarah to share her story really quickly so you can get some juices flowing of how this long-term maintenance thing can really happen for you.
Sure. So I found this program when I was 33, and I had spent 10 years of pretty much trying everything out there. I had 30, 40 pounds that I could get off really fast. You know, there's a ton of programs. There's one where like you drink oil before you eat and it just kind of grosses you out. I'm sure if you like ate only blue food, you'd lose some weight for a little while, right? And I was really scale obsessed. I'd have a family event or a class reunion, and I'd be like, I want to look good for that. So I'd focus on the scale, I'd lose my weight, and then, you know, I could gain 20 pounds back in a month, easy. And so I would kind of go dark for a few months, and then when an event came up again, I'd do another crash diet. And so when I heard about this program, of course I was like, whatever, sure, people lose weight, how is that any different? But my coach, my sister-in-law Chantel, she just seemed like she was having so much fun with the people she was working with, and I was seeing good results, and it seemed easy. So I went ahead and started another diet. For the first time, my coach was giving me challenges that didn't relate to my food. She was giving me a challenge to set a bedtime, and I'd been an insomniac since a teenager, so she told me to set a 10:30 bedtime. She taught me about stop, challenge, choose, and had me start identifying my emotions. And so yes, even though the weight came off quickly with this, I lost 40 pounds in about 3 months. I went from a size 14 to a size 4, which a lot of other people were really excited about that. I was more excited about the fact that I was getting 8 hours of sleep for the first time in my life, that I had overcome you know, a lot of my bad eating habits. I had really been a nighttime binger for my whole adult life. And now I was sleeping at night. I wasn't eating anymore. And so a month into the program, you know, I fell off the wagon and I had a massive cheat day. But for the first time I realized I wasn't cheating. It was just stupid because I knew too much now. So I had this big cheat day and I thought, well, that was just about the stupidest thing I've ever done. I'm never doing that again. And you know what, you guys? That was a wake-up call for me. There's no such thing as cheating. You have your body and you can treat it right or you can't, but there's no gain to it. And so it's been 3 years now. I've been maintaining a healthy weight, and instead of celebrating with cake like I used to do when I would crash diet, when I reached my goal weight on this program, I celebrated by training and running a triathlon. I celebrated by flying me and my spouse out to New York and doing a professional photo shoot. You know, I celebrated by telling my whole world about it and bringing them with me. And so, it's been awesome. Maintenance is fabulous. Last Halloween, after I had created this community and, been at my goal weight for a few years, instead of fearing the holidays, I rallied my support system. I got a group of like 50 of us, and we all just banded together and said, we're not going to have a single piece. And it was my first Halloween where I had the support. I didn't have a single piece of Halloween candy. So it's just been amazing. And I'm so grateful for the people who cared enough to share what they were doing with me, because the results have been awesome.
That's awesome, Sarah. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear Sarah's story, it just gives me hope for everyone, for all of us. I'm going to share my screen really quickly here for those of you who are on Zoom. I want to show you some before and afters. Just give you some inspiration before we get into the meat and potatoes, right? So here it's the chicken and the spinach of it. I myself lost 35 pounds, and I've kept it off for over 12 years now. And my husband, he lost 55 pounds with Take Shape for Life. He's kept it off for 7 years. My mom also lost 35 pounds. I mean, just in the three of us alone, that's 120 pounds lost. And we've been keeping it off for years and years. It can be done, you guys. There's so many people who are really there. If you were on last week on the Habits of Health call, Craig Blanchette talked about, are you putting in the work? Are you learning the things for the long-term success? Are you working on your head, or are you just winning the health lottery? And sometimes we'll do 5 and 1 and we're like, what? This weight is just like falling off of us, right? It's just so simple. You feel like you won the lottery, but really it's earning that health. And here's some of the things that we want to share with you, some of the secrets. Okay, so first off, I want everybody on the call, or maybe you're listening to playback, just think about what your health goals are. And I heard Sarah say this when she was sharing her story, that in the past, maybe it was a number on the scale goal, and it was like, I made it, I'm done, woohoo, celebrate, I'm gonna eat some cake, right? And instead, that could be a dangerous goal, right? When it's all about the scale, it's all about reaching that destination. But instead, let's focus on becoming a healthier person. So what are some of the things that make you a healthy person? These are some that I came up with. Are you eating clean? Are you moving? Are you stressing less? And are you sleeping? And who else in your life would benefit? What does that mean for your family, for your coworkers, for your children? Not just what does it mean for you? And really focusing on the why. And focusing on the why, not just while you're in weight loss, but even into maintenance. Because the results will come, whether you're doing one of the Take Shape for Life plans or you're doing your own thing, that the results are going to come as you stick to it. But really what really matters is the why. Sarah, I want you to jump in anytime. You're my co-host, girl.
All right. I've got some on the next slide.
Okay, awesome. Go for it, girl.
So habits are what this is all about. Habits make it so easy to stay healthy. When we have a habit, we're not white knuckling it with willpower. And so make sure right from the start you're working in habits. Some habits that I've really developed that make my life so much easier is I always keep a gallon pitcher of water on my desk while I work. So I always have my water by me. I always keep food stocked in my purse and in my car. That's just a habit. The second it runs out, I'm like, well, that's weird. And I go put more food in. I always, when I go to the grocery store or any parking lot, I always park in a spot where there's not a car on either side of me. That's just my little thing. That's just a habit now. Like, it would be weird for me to park in a spot where there are cars on either side. So these habits that we're talking about, they make life so much easier. They take time, but the base habits that you start learning when you begin, these stick with you forever. Eating breakfast, every 2 to 3 hours. Are you feeding your kids and your family like this too? This isn't just for you. This is for everyone.
I love that, Sarah. I think too many times I'll hear clients say things like, oh man, it's really just, this plan is bogging me down. And I'll ask them, I'll say, well, what do you mean? What's difficult about it? Well, I have to be making 2 different meals for dinner every night, one for my family and one for me. And I'm like, whoa, back the truck up. Why? Why are you having to make 2 different meals? It's so powerful to really adopt these healthy habits for your entire family. You know, look at your children. Are your children eating breakfast within an hour of waking up? Are your children or your husband or your aunts and uncles or cousins or nieces and nephews, who knows, whoever's around you, your roommates, are they eating every 2 to 3 hours? Are they drinking 100 ounces of water? And of course, you know, you can't force anyone to do anything, but you can encourage and you can really share what we've learned about how powerful these things are. And if you're in charge of dinner, I'm sorry, at my house, I am not a short order chef. Whatever I make, that's dinner. And if you don't like it, then I'm sorry. So here is a big thing that one of the biggest secrets that I think that we have, honestly. They did a study at the University of Toronto by David Jenkins, and he's a PhD there, and he's one of the pioneers in low glycemic eating. And timing is so important. Listen, you guys, if you don't remember anything else from this entire call, remember this study. They took 2 groups of people, and in the first group, well, both groups ate the exact same foods and the exact same number of calories. Okay, so that's really important. They both ate the same foods. You eat celery, you eat celery, you eat whatever, okay, same foods. One of the groups the foods were given to them in 3 traditional meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then the second group, they broke those meals up into 6 smaller meals. And the group who ate throughout the day instead of just 3 times, they lost more weight, they were less hungry, their cholesterol went down 15%, and their blood insulin went down 28%. Sarah, you don't have any comments on this?
Nope, he's the pro. I'm leaving it at that. And you know, for people who think you can cheat the system and save up your fuel and save up calories, man, you're really cheating yourself. Marathon runners, you know, you can only burn so much energy at a time. So there's no saving this up, you guys. You eat on schedule, your body's not working.
It's true. Just really focusing on, instead of it all being about calories in, calories out, because that's what you're taught, right? I mean, that's what people say. Well, just get your calories, eat less and exercise more, right? Well, that's part of it. That's definitely one of the pieces of the puzzle. But I'm telling you, keeping that blood sugar steady and even by eating throughout the day, it is magical. Okay, I've had clients who started to do this while they're waiting for their program to come in the mail, and they drop a few pounds just doing this.
And it makes your mood so much better too. It just makes weight loss more fun.
Yep, I look forward to being able to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so I have a little matching game for you guys. Who on here, I can't see everybody now, but raise your hand if you like to play matching games, or you like to play games with your kids, or you did growing up. I love that. I love games. I love fun. I think making anything fun will help you to do it more often and to really cement it in your head. And so I have my clients print this out and then draw lines. Did you ever do that in school? You draw a line, you match things up. It just makes it fun. So after weight loss, and you're looking for snacks, and what do I eat 6 times a day? Holy cow, I can't even think of things to eat, right? So here's some examples. You could have a boiled egg, match that up with some fruit, or Greek yogurt and celery. You can dip some celery in Greek yogurt. Low-fat cheese and an apple. You could have some fish with a nice salad. This is the cool thing for those of you who are on a Take Shape for Life plan, is that you're already learning to eat protein carb balance. You're already learning that because each of the meal replacements is already balanced out, and then you're lean and green. You have your protein, and then vegetables or carbohydrates. And this is one thing, I brought a box, okay? This is one of our meal replacements. I like my clients to look at the back, and of course, you're not gonna be able to see this very well, but look at the label. This is something that is just so helpful, is to learn how to read a label. So first off, the calories are about 110. And if you look down to the total carbohydrate, 15 grams of carbs. A lot of people think Take Shape for Life plans are low carb. That's not true. They are balanced protein carb plans. 15 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber. So the net carbs is around 10. And then the protein is 11. So do you see how balanced that is? 10 net carbs, 11 protein. So you're looking for a balance in your protein and your carbohydrates as well into maintenance, not just for weight loss. That keeps your blood sugar steady and even, and it helps you stay full longer. So you're looking for high fiber, low glycemic, protein carb balance snacks.
And you guys bring this to the whole family. You know, give these lists to your kids and say, hey, what if these look good to you? My kids know if they need a quick snack, there's apples and almonds. My 8-year-old loves the ready-to-drink chocolate shake. She brings that to school with her. So, you know, I always make sure, I've just got my favorites. I'm a big fan of hummus, the 100-calorie yogurts, apples, almonds. Like, it's got to be fast and simple for me because I'm busy. But these are lifesavers, and they're so filling. They're so filling.
It's so true. And just don't forget that protein, you guys, into maintenance. Too many people, or even people trying to do it on their own with weight loss, they're going, well, Amber, I had a piece of whole wheat toast and carrots, and then I had an apple, and I just can't understand why I'm not losing weight. You had carb, and carb. Even though it's low fat or low calorie, your body needs protein. You need to protect that muscle mass as well. Okay, Sarah, give us some tips on a plate.
I love this plate. It makes it so simple. Like, we don't have to count anything. We can just visualize all of our meals. Now, the thing that really works for me with this visual plate is I didn't used to eat where you load up your whole plate and then you go. And we used to just do family style. We would put stuff out on the table and you just kind of pick, oh, I'm gonna have some of that, and no, I'm hungry for more of that. And it was really hard for me to know how much I was eating. I really didn't care how much I was eating. I would just eat till my stomach hurt. But with this 9-inch plate, first of all, make sure your plates, you're actually just using the 9 inches. Most plates that we have right now are like, what, 12 inches, Amber? They're huge. So just make sure you're using 9 inches, even if it has to be the salad plate. And this is how we load it up. Half of that plate is fruits and vegetables. If you're trying to lose weight, more vegetables than fruit. 25% is some healthy protein. That's your, your lean meats, that's your quinoa, that's your tofu. And then, of course, we've got your starches. Maybe that's a potato, maybe that's a whole grain bun. But if you eat this way, take your time, and you will see that you are really satisfied with it. I really like when we have our dinner time to not just think, okay, we've got 5 minutes, we're going to eat as fast as possible. I really like to give ourselves about 20, 30 minutes so that we can eat slowly. We know we're all in it together. And not that you can take that time on every meal, but when you really take your time and you eat a plate balanced like this, you're going to have so much satisfaction and you're not going to keep reaching for more. So get all the serving dishes off the table, load your plate up once, and this meal is going to do it for you. It'll do it for your husband, it'll do it for your kids.
That's awesome. And depending on how many calories you need in maintenance, then you can see how many of these 9-inch plates that you would do. Some people who exercise a lot, they need more calories. They're going to be able to do 3 of these in a day because a 9-inch plate is going to give you around 400 calories. And then you put in those little snacks in between. And then long-term success, here's some tips to utilize. First off, don't forget to keep checking in with your coach. Maybe after you've really gotten a hang of maintenance, maybe you don't need a weekly check-in anymore. But I think a once a month is definitely called for to make sure that you're checking in. Are you gaining weight back? Are you, getting lax in some of your habits? Another thing is with paying forward help, you stepping out of yourself and helping your community to be able to make the changes that you've made. That's one of the biggest factors for success that we've seen, especially with coaches, is that they keep their weight off more often, that they're in that mindset. They're thinking about health on a daily basis. They're helping someone else. So even if you help one other person, whether it's someone in your family or a friend or someone in your community, you're really going to be solidifying those habits for yourself long term.
Yeah, and some other habits that I've really seen have helped with my maintenance is keep getting on that scale once a week and just really monitor. When you're in your healthy weight, you're going to have some fluctuation up and down, but really give yourself a range. And if things start getting out of control, I don't go all the way back and start from square one. I'm like, hey, you know what? I probably have to pull back on grains a little bit. And at that point, it's just this little balancing act. So really keep an eye on the scale. And for women especially, really watch out for stretchy clothes. You know, those maxi skirts, those flowy dresses. Make sure that you're putting some clothes on every once in a while that, you know, are your right size, so you can just have another way to check yourself. Something that else that I really have found has helped me a lot is to get real in what I call my foods. So like when I look at a candy jar, I call it a lard jar. When I look at a donut, I call it afternoon slump. You know, when you see a piece of cake, it's like, okay, that's diabetes in 15 years. So I really try to identify by name what these foods really are. Because sometimes, you know, you hear pineapple upside down cake and that sounds great. It's like, well, that's insomnia tonight. So, you know, just be real with what these foods are. And like Amber said, when I know, I'm a coach now, when I know that I'm holding myself up, and I like to do healthy dinners at my house, when I know I'm gonna have people coming over once a month to talk about health and to get inspired, it really helps me just to think, hey, I don't wanna let these people down. I wanna be a good example. Who likes being a hypocrite? Like, you feel sick if you're a hypocrite. So even though, yes, I have days when I eat things I don't like, in general, this keeps me really reined in. So, you know, there's so many great habits that we have here, but maintenance is just like anything else. Amber's been maintaining for 12 years. I've been maintaining for 3. Guess what? Tomorrow, we could both go back to our old habits. We totally could. There's no guarantee on this except for you and what you really want. And if you really, really want health, this makes it so easy.
That's so true. You know, and I think of it, keeping your weight off or optimizing your health, you know, even going one step further, like what new goals can I make? What level of fitness can I attain? Or what's the next thing that I want to do in my life? It's kind of like showering, right? Like you need to keep doing it every day. It's not like, well, I showered last month, I'm good to go. No, you have to keep doing it. Or brushing your teeth. And you don't go, oh man, shoot, I got home so late last night, I just crashed and I didn't even brush my teeth. You don't go, oh my gosh, I stink at brushing my teeth. I might as well just stop doing it. I might as well let all my teeth rot out of my face because I'm terrible at brushing my teeth. No, right? What do? You just brush your teeth the next day. It's okay.
Yeah, Amber, I love what you said about optimizing. And for those of you who've done the workbook, the Living a Longer, Healthier Life workbook, redo it once or twice a year. It is so cool because health is so much more than that scale. I hope we're helping you see that. But as you go through, you've reached your goal weight. Go through and do that book again. You're gonna have a totally different experience. You're gonna be setting new goals. My goals now aren't so much focused on the scale, they're focused on routine activity and, you know, just healthy mindset. Those are some of my goals. And so that workbook is the gift that never stops giving.
Totally agree. Okay, I want to go to some questions. Let's see. I have everybody muted, not allowed to unmute. Okay, now you're allowed to unmute yourself, or you can go down to the manage participants and you can raise your hand. So if you have a question, go ahead and take yourself off mute or raise your hand. And I'll go to my Zoom people while I'm waiting for Joyous to check if there's anybody on the phone line.
At this time, if you have a question, please press the number 1 on your touch-tone phone once. If your question has been answered by a previous caller, please press the number 1 again to remove yourself from the question queue. Questions will be answered in the order in which they are received. Again, if you have a question on the audio part, please press the number 1 once on your touch-tone phone.
Hey, does anybody, or maybe you don't have a question, but you just have a comment to make or some input to put in of what we're talking about?
Your first question is Grandpa Dick. Grandpa, your line is now open.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, recording playback, the number with Habits of Health, is that, will I be able to hear that after tonight's session? I call that number and I can hear it over again? That's my question.
Yes, that's correct. You can dial that number and it'll be available after the call, and just all during the week. You can dial that number, but the other place you can go online is supportcallsonline.com, and you can do the playback online as well, past the week even. And it has previous calls available on there. You bet. Good question.
Normally I keep a notepad, but I don't have one tonight, and I wanted to run this by because I hear some good things. Thank you.
Bet. Thanks for being on.
You're welcome.
There are no other questions in the audio part.
Okay, we got a chatted question here from Paula. Let's see. Do you think it's important to have grains in your optimal program? And some people avoid all grain carbs. So that's a great question, you know, and I'm not specifically a nutritionist, but according to the Habits of Health book, you can definitely incorporate grains and starches according to that 9-inch plate to have a small amount. And I incorporate grains. I personally probably try to limit simple grains, you know, things like white bread and white rice, and try to do more complex grains. But you would probably want to go to that Habits of Health book and see what's right for you. There's also maintenance plans that you can get. The TSL maintenance guide is awesome. You can ask your coach, and you can figure out, your coach can help you figure out your calorie level in maintenance, and it will tell you how many, oh, there it is right there, Sarah. It will tell you how many grains that is right for you in a maintenance plan. But I definitely don't go crazy on the grains because it's so easy to go over your servings on those.
Yeah, and if I could just say, as someone who spent 10 years terrified of grains, the weight that I'm maintaining, my maintenance plan allows for 1 grain a day. And, you know, I could just like say, oh no, I just don't want to eat grains. But it's really important for people to understand how they can use all the food groups, because it's realistic to think you're never going to eat grains again. So it's important to know how to incorporate them and the amount to incorporate. Not that you have to do it every day. And obviously there are some people who have gluten and grain intolerances, but for the rest of us, like, let's not be scared of any of the food groups. They all have great value.
I agree. I totally agree. That's a great question. Who else has a question for us? I saw someone raising their hand earlier.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
My question is I've been on program since beginning of February, and I've lost about 45 pounds. Had to take a couple months off. I ran a Cub Scout camp, and I just found it too hard to be on program and be in the cafeteria with the kids and everything. So, but I feel I'm losing incredibly slow compared to other people. Is there something that I can do to maybe speed it up? I'm drinking 100+ ounces a day. I work with autistic kids at school, so I'm running, I feel like, all the time. I'm hitting at least 10,000 steps a day, plus playing basketball, staying on program, but I just feel like this weight is just, it's coming off, but it's slow.
Are you seeing about 1 to 2 pounds a week?
It depends on the week. I can see 3 pounds. I guess that would be the average, but I'm a scaleaholic, so I'm on there every morning.
Oh, yeah. You know, the scale is going to drive you crazy. What we really expect, and what I tell all my clients, is we're looking for about 1 to 2 pounds a week after the first 2 weeks. And it's really hard when you start comparing. You know, some people are going faster or slower, but as a coach, we typically think that it's really good progress if you're in that 1 to 2 pound a week range, and it'll average out. But I would really encourage you to pull back from the scale a little bit, because it's hard and it can send you into yo-yo mode. Trust me, I've been there when it's up 0.5 pound one morning and you think, that's it, I'm going back to old habits. But you know, if every time you get on the scale every 7 days, you just have this expectation, I'm doing this for health, I'm looking for 1 to 2 pounds. And you know, if you're not seeing that, for sure talk to your coach. But comparative reality, you know, the second you get into that, it is just, you can't enjoy it. You can't enjoy your own goals.
Yeah, luckily I'm feeling so much better. I'm off a lot of medications that are on, so I don't want to leave plan because of it. It's not like another program where I'm like, okay, I quit, I'm gonna go have a cheeseburger, but I just would like to see more more rapid weight loss. But okay, thank you.
I hear you, Becky. You know, patience is definitely one of those virtues that we all are, we learn at different rates. But I just want to encourage you, like Sarah said, to really focus on those non-scale victories that you just mentioned, that you're off medications and you're feeling so much better. Oh my goodness, you ran a Cub Scout camp for like a few weeks. Hello, that's some energy that it takes to do that. And kind of, I like the expectations advice that Sarah gave too. It's what if it did take longer for you than someone else? You know, does that really matter in the long run? Or are we still getting to our goals? One person's body will lose at one rate, another's at a faster rate. But I just want to congratulate you, Becky, for the progress that you're making and for the choice that you've made to really get healthy.
And next time you're at the grocery store, pick up 40 pounds of potatoes. You're going to feel better instantly. That's quite a fun thing to do.
I love it. Does anybody else have a question or comment or, oh, and we are about at the time actually. Okay. Thank you so much.
No questions in the audio.
Thanks, Joyous. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It was such a fun call. We appreciated everyone who had input and questions and answers. And thank you, Sarah, for joining me as a co-host. We sure appreciated you and hearing your story. And go ahead and join us next week at the same time, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And we just really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.